Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to another episode of Waz the Dome TV. Today I got a very, very special guest, man. I got Team RBG in the house with me. We're about to build on what they got going on. Also, kind of the state of what's been going on in hip hop and why, you know, what we need to do, I guess, to inject some consciousness in the art form, man. And so, again, Team RBG, I got with me right now, man. Peace. Appreciate y'all for coming through. If y'all can, for everybody that don't know, introduce yourselves and let the people know who you are. We start with Rocket Musa.
All right. You got here Rocket Musa, QC RBG, Team RBG. Happy to be here to let everyone know what Team RBG has in store, who we are, and what we're about. So Team RBG is here.
No doubt, no doubt. Mike Chambers.
Yo, peace and blessings. My name is Mike Chambers. You know what I'm saying? Also part of Team RBG, as well as the Vengeance and Outlaw RBG coming out of Atlanta GA. You know, I was thinking about the UNIA.
Oh, yeah. Already. Son Jada, Son the Great, man. If you can introduce yourself to the people.
Yes, sir. Son the Great, Sundiata Mansa Musa Brown, Son the Great, one of the founding members of the Vengeance, put your bees up, represent Outlaw RBG, Zelu from Atlanta, from PA to GA, from Reading, Pennsylvania, 6th Ward, but here in Atlanta area now. Also part of Team RBG, a glad, honored member of the only organization that I chose to join and be affiliated, and be more than just affiliated with, but to really give my time and energy to Team RBG. Also the owner and programmer of Vengeance Radio, and father of 10. Yeah, there you go. That's me. Zalu. Mooses. Hey, the Mooses is in the building. Mansa Mooses.
Yes, sir.
Already. Peace, Queen. You want to introduce yourself?
All right. Peace and love, and Black Power family. My name is Queen Akila Yohira. I'm committed to being among the warriors that's committed to our liberation and our empowerment. I come to this space, as a student scholar. I'm learning from y'all for sure. And I'm also an educator, an organizer, a healer, and also a visionary. So I have a heart for our community, a heart for our people. And I'm just here because I want to learn. So peace, love, and Black Power. And I look forward to moving together towards Black sovereignty and unity. Ashe.
Peace. Nah, that's what's up, man. As a collective, we y'all introduce yourselves as individual members of the collective, but as a collective, for those who don't know, what is Team RBG?
Team RBG is a collective of brothers and sisters who know that what is at store and what is at hand right now for our people. We know that solidarity is primary right now. If you don't know, we just here for outreach and a collective goal and mission to liberate our peoples and global African supremacy. We're here to pick up the pieces. A renaissance of RBG, if you may say, for a lack of a better term, because we took some hits and we're here to rebirth and renaissance RBG.
No doubt. Anybody else want to add on?
Well, go ahead. I'll wait.
No, ladies first. Go ahead, sis.
Oh, I see Olu O'Shea popped in. Peace, God.
Peace. I would say that Team RBG is we are a unified force. We're revolutionary minds. We rooted in the red for the blood, black for the people, and green for the land. We're committed to our liberation, our self-determination, and we're building a sovereign future for our people, spiritually, economically, and culturally. We don't just talk revolution, we live it. Ashe.
Ashe.
Shay. Oluwaseyi, you there with me, bro?
Peace, G. What's the deal? Shout
Ain't
out to the
nothing,
panel,
man.
man. What's up, Team RBG?
Peace, peace, bro.
Dude. Peace, power. You ready?
Already. That's my brother there, man. So I was kind of I was listening to a speech in I think last week sometime, or might have been, I don't know if I was reading one of his essays, but Amiri Baraka, he said the artist's role is to raise the consciousness of the people, to make them understand life, the world, and themselves more completely. When y'all hear that quote, and as artists yourselves and people who deal with different art forms, what comes to mind just hearing that quote? If the artist's role is to raise the consciousness of the people, like, would y'all agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yes, 100.
Do you think where we are now, like how, like it's when we look as far as we can look at hip hop, R&B, soul, do you think that we've kind of gotten off track as far as what the essence and the soul of what Black music is? You know what I mean? Like, do you think we've kind of veered off and lost our way a little bit?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Mm, mm,
But at the same time, though, pardon me, I would like to say no, because you still have artists such as us who still continue to make that type of music, who never stopped making this type of music, who received our consciousness from the music itself, so we understand the importance of it. Now, what has changed has been the corporation influence. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna use De La Soul. De La Soul had that song "Say No Go."
Mm-hmm.
Then they had another joint that said Tommy Boy wants another "Say No." Once those industries, once those corporations saw how much money particular types and styles of songs could make, they began to recruit artists to make that type of music.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they pulled it away from the consciousness. I even heard someone say that they would take rap to quote unquote third world countries. The music that we use to enlighten us, they would take it to third world countries and use it to enlighten them, which would at many times cause a rebellion.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. My fault, y'all. I had to step out real quick. But what he was talking about, Hillary Clinton doing that.
No, it was just talking about pretty much the corporatization of the music. You know what I mean, and how the people that got the bread to put behind artists are often, kind of recruiting the same type of artists and only promoting one message. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary
Uncle
Clinton.
Femi, peace, brother.
Peace. Hillary Clinton, literally.
Peace and power, y'all.
It's all good. We just started. We got time.
Yeah,
So,
we just
you know what
getting
I'm
into it.
saying? Yeah.
In 2008, I believe,
Already.
around that time, she did something on CBS. They were asking questions, and they were talking about hip hop and talking about things like that, and music, and how they take people they traveling across like Brother Mike was saying, and she said specifically, we use hip hop outside of here to affect the people all around, but she also said they understand it and use it as a chess piece, but that's also the reason why it doesn't get played. The same music that they press outside, they won't let that play here. It's it's a concerted effort to keep the consciousness and to keep the awareness and the culturalism at bay, pun intended. You know what I'm saying? Here in this country, so that they, what happens there don't necessarily happen here. So the power is not just known, but is utilized and then cut off on purpose. So we have not just an uphill battle as artists, but we have an uphill battle against the system and the whole society as it all. But like both of them said, two things can be right at this. Yeah, we are in a deficit, right now with the artists on the mainstream who's doing what it is. We've never been at a deficit with the art being able to be performed on the underground and everywhere else. Well, so just to add that part, so.
Nah, that's real. Did you want to add on, Obafemi? I was just asking, talking about the historically what the essence of Black music has been, of soul music, jazz, hip hop, things that were, all art is political, they say, you know what I'm saying? And in the mainstream, obviously, we've gotten to a point where pretty much none of the art is political, you know what I'm saying? In the sense where it's teaching you about the world and consciousness and where and a Black vision for the world that we want to see. You know what I'm saying? And obviously you guys are doing a great job in countering that narrative. But when we look in the mainstream, and we look at how influential our art form is, and I know a lot of people, I get a lot of flack sometimes for even having that conversation, but we know how influential pop culture is, hip hop is, music videos are, shows, movies, and in these days and time, all of it's connected. When we look at the influence it has on the babies and the youth, with people that with you brothers and sisters who work with the youth, what would you say to people that kind of downplay the influence of our art form on the youth? Because I hear a lot of times people will say things like, man, their parents just need to do a better job checking what they listening to or this and that. You kind of hear that often, but I disagree with that because the gravitational pull on that on pop culture in general is so strong. You got two parents in the house, two older brothers, two older sisters, and you can still be pulled, or be attracted by certain things that are the downfall or could cause the destruction of yourself and the people around you.
Yo, if I may, I like to, when I refer or discuss this matter right here, I like to include peer pressure. Because regardless of how much influence the parents have, the grandparents have, the brothers have, the sisters have, your peers and our peers influence us more than anybody. And I remember my children used to come home from school and they was going to a little charter school and they come home from school and me paying attention to them every day, I would notice change. I'd be like, hey, what you learned today in school? Oh, I'd be like, yeah, you learned something else too, right? You learn whatever foul behavior, whatever. Make sure you take that back to school with you tomorrow. But I'm saying that to say peer pressure because their peers is listening to that. They will, like you said, that gravitational pull is so powerful. They don't want to feel left out. Right. You got old people in wheelchairs. I know the first one who pulled up with the electric wheelchair was the man or the woman. And next thing you know, all the other ones was like, yo, why am I doing this with my hands? I don't need nobody to push me no more. Let me go get that. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Peer pressure. Peer pressure from fashion. Peer pressure from what we eat. Peer pressure from what we think. Peer pressure. And a lot of the pressure is applied through the arts. So they just gonna do what's popular.
That if that wasn't the case, then there wouldn't be a State Department program to use hip hop to push U.S. ideals and imperialism overseas, right? If it didn't have any type of attraction power or and gravitational pull to it, they wouldn't use it, but they use it as a tool. And again, I appreciate y'all for using it as a tool for our liberation, right? Because again, I know it's an uphill battle, but it's something that we got to do and continue to win the hearts and minds of the people. And again, you know, with me and Rock was talking before we started. We're entering in a time where like there's an anti-African sentiment, an anti-Pan-African sentiment, and you know I have been pretty vocal about my issues with those organizations and those individuals. As RBG Pan Africans, like what are your thoughts on these new movements that are calling themselves in the benefit of Black people, but they are anti-African, anti-Pan-African, and anti-solidarity with oppressed people around the world?
Yo,
Let me tap in for a second, man.
Yeah,
Um, can I backpedal just a little bit?
yeah,
You
absolutely,
mentioned
absolutely.
about the music and the music, mainstream music not being political, and I would say if we think about it, it is political. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like that, the music that's being pushed is definitely political. It's definitely serving a political agenda. It just
right.
ain't in our benefit, but
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely political. Everything about that is political. That's why we only hear that certain sound because of the political agenda that's
Mm,
attached to that type of music.
mm-hmm.
Um, so from our standpoint, you know what I'm saying, as artists, we saying, well, it may not be in the direction where we need to go, but it's definitely has political attachments to that form or type of music. You know what I'm saying? I used to work with a youth group, an after school program, man, elementary students, and we would do brainstorming, and so I would say unofficial um like surveys with them. So I'm like, man, what y'all listening to? You know what I'm saying? I'm just getting intel because I use this to teach.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm like, what y'all listening to? Name me some of y'all artists. And they telling me they artists. I'm writing them names on the board and stuff. Right. So I'm like, okay, tell me about some of the stuff that they talking about. And they kind of set back like, oh, now I gotta. I'm like, just tell me the theme. You ain't gotta tell me the lyrics. Just tell me what they talking about.
Right.
And so I wrote all of these things in a bubble. You know what I'm saying? And so we go down the list of the artists that they name. And I said, show me an artist up here that ain't talking about these things that y'all just circled. And they
Mm,
could name an artist and they couldn't name a subject. And we talking kindergarten through fifth grade. They know the themes. They know what's being talked about because it's being drilled into them. You understand
mm,
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And as well as Mike was talking about the peer pressure. What I say peer pressure is it's it's socialization. That's what that is. You know what I'm saying? For example, if you walk into the store with your homeboys, y'all walk to the corner store, right? You get your chips, you get your candy, you get your soda, right? Y'all walking back. So you finish eating your bag of chips and your candy paper, you throw it on the ground, right? The other ones look, nobody says nothing. Right then and there, a lesson has been taught that this is acceptable behavior in our community. You understand what I'm saying? So you're being socialized and educated to say, this is our standard. This is what we do. This is acceptable. You understand? And so magnify and multiply that times hundreds, thousands, 10,000s of our, this is what's going on. You understand? So it's definitely you're getting pressured to conform to the norms of what's being pushed in our communities, and it's coming from higher up. We just don't understand how, because they make the candy so sweet,
yeah.
and the chips got that extra spice on it. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So everything that we getting it's on edge, so they gonna make it so appealing that it's like, man, you can't resist. I just gotta have just a little bit of a little taste of that, man. I gotta have some of that, you know what I'm saying? Um, as far as those groups, and that's just me. None of these fringe groups uh have no serious bearing as far as Pan-Africanism go, because Pan-Africans have built institutions, schools, overseas connections, businesses, all kinds of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Now, one of them groups, I don't even want to call their names. You
Yeah,
understand what I'm
you
saying? I
ain't
don't
got
want
to.
to give them no
No
type
light.
of shine. You understand what I'm saying? They man, listen, they they ain't got no institutions. They ain't got no schools. We got psychologies that guides how we think and all of this type of stuff. Where is that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm yet to see a school that's developed, a grocery store that's developed. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Under these ideologies, like so, a lot of it is social media, right? And
Mm-hmm.
social media will make something. It's like the boogeyman in the room, or the puppet master behind the screen, making something seem like it's bigger than it really is. And a lot of people are parroting this, but I don't see them out in the streets doing nothing.
Yeah.
I don't, you understand what I'm saying? Like I don't see no movement, boots on the ground with most of these groups. I don't see no traction. I don't see no action. You know what I'm saying? So I mean that's just my view. I do think is we should be aware and alert because it does have potential
Mm-hmm.
to disrupt some things. But no, they definitely ain't outworking what we doing as
No.
Pan Africans.
Right.
I don't see it at all.
Lou, you was about
But
to hop
yeah,
in.
that's my piece.
Then shut them down.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Queen.
Okay. Well, this is just a powerful discussion for me
Mm-hmm.
because just like you was talking about, the Hillary Clinton and what she said, at her convention or whatever, just thinking about it from the perspective of just being an artist. I mean, I don't rap or anything, but I do poetry. I make adornments for women, I paint, and what Nina Simone, she said this one thing. She was like, an artist's duty reflects the times that we live in, and just like Amiri Baraka said that our role is to raise the consciousness, those words are really sacred. They define, how
Mm-hmm.
I hear Team RBG and RBG Gumbo, all you artists that rap and everything, it defines how y'all move as cultural artists, we all have our thing. I paint, I write poetry, like I said, and our work isn't just creative, it's spiritual. And not only is it spiritual, it's political. Not only is it political, it's ancestral, and it's our liberation, um I just feel like the artists, they didn't just entertain, they educated, and they agitated and they elevated people. They transformed the sound into movement and the pain into power.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think. I like gospel music. I love gospel music, and I draw from those same kind of frequencies. It gives my work, the sacred foundation. It calls down God into the creative process. The blues, look at what Lauryn Hill did, and John Coltrane and Miles Davis. Miles Davis, and he let jazz be chaos and cosmos, which was a language of
Mm-hmm.
freedom. Aretha Franklin, her voice was both a praise and a song and a protest. All her notes was a form of resistance. Curtis Mayfield, Marvin Gaye, oh my gosh,
Right.
they turned soul music into sermons and civil rights survival. So to me, all art, black art, our art, it's political. It's our existence. It's everything we do. We heal, we create. When we create, we heal. When we heal, we teach, and we rebel, we reclaim. So I just think that for me, it's beautiful. I love hearing Team RBG. You know, music on when we listen to it on our Vengeance radio, or whenever I see the thing in our group chat. To me, it's powerful. So yeah, it's definitely political, but it's also spiritual. It's also spiritual. So that's all I want to
Absolutely. Yeah. And y'all just and we building, we family. This ain't an interview. We just having a conversation.
Yeah.
So y'all hop in whenever y'all want.
say.
The brother
Okay.
Olu, I know he had something to say. I don't want to jump in.
Yeah. Oh, Lou, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I was letting the sister speak her truth to power.
No
Um,
doubt.
I think that one of the things that we have to realize when we dealing with the concepts of how our music and just what we stand for as Pan-Africans in general, when we looking at a lot of the things that happen on social media, you have to ask yourself who benefits from a divided house, and it's usually the person who instigates those types of situations. And the question is, why are they instigating that? Because they know that a united people is problematic to strategically oppressive structures. Um, whether it be an artist that's political in the textbook sense of politics, or someone presenting things of social awareness, um, and just the different avenues that it goes through. One of our duties and jobs is to make people aware. That's what consciousness is. Consciousness um, is not trendy. It's not a fashion statement, although fashion plays a part in it because that's something that's innately in us as an African people. How we present ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually all is combined, like the sister was saying about the gospel music. Um, those are rebellious songs in certain aspects, depending on what you're listening to, and their roots lie in field songs, and call and response. There's a reason for
Yeah.
that. So
Mhm.
as we put these things together, we still represent our respective areas, regions, um, and different aspects of our own ideologies because we're not a monolith. So no people are gonna agree on 100% of everything. But as long as we got about 90% that we agree on, then we really in the clear. Um, and it's done by design, like Brother Obafemi was talking about socialization. If you uh if you push in someone's head that woke quote unquote is bad, or it is filled with grifters, and you use certain figures to say this is who represents that. In other ideologies or other aspects of how people socialize, those things don't get utilized the same way because it's a lot of things that we could point out and say, well, hey, since this person is like this, all of y'all are like that. But we know that that's not true. And
Mhm.
it's our duty to bring that truth. It's our duty to bring that integrity to the forefront. So what you really seeing is people like, since I can't do that, I'm gonna talk bad about it, and I'm gonna make other people galvanize around this idea that it's bad. But look at the results. As a unified people, our results were businesses, better familial structures, a real community. Like when you think about the hood, like we disregarded the neighbors.
Mm.
It's not a
Right.
neighborhood. We just okay, this the hood. So of course we gonna trash it out. We gonna put the trash on the ground. They don't care, so we don't care. That's a poor mentality to have. And I think that the work and the efforts that we put in place are the things that's gonna show people like it's gangster to have a garden. It's okay to love your family. It's okay to have pride in your ancestry because everyone else does. Like we have to get out of our people have to get out of the mindset that like everyone has their ish together except us, because that's not true.
Fact.
Mhm.
That's a fact.
Listen, I'm gonna add to what he was saying with it on a bunch of different levels. Music wise, everything is everything is political, like Obafemi said. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because it's like Stokely Carmichael used to say. You know what I mean? The brother used to say, "You either a capitalist or you a socialist. You either
Fact.
working for the system. I mean, the society coming together as one, or you working to get some capital over top of somebody else you're
Hmm.
dealing with. You know what I mean? So in this aspect, they either working with us in a unified situation or they're working against us. And if you're working against the unification, then you're working for the division.
Yeah.
And so I my thought pattern when it comes to those particular groups are uh there's some truth in everything. You know what I mean? What they say, the clock is right twice a day. You
Hmm.
know, a
Mhm.
broke clock is right twice a day, right? So that
Yeah.
being the case, yeah, this is this is our land. Yeah, we do that, but that too. And if you combine instead of competing, you know what I'm saying? We ain't saying don't go get the land here and do it and get your claim here. We're saying this and that. Your
Right.
mitochondria automatically says that. You know what I'm saying? But that's because over there in Africa, we went everywhere. And so that's why the planet is our home and Africa is the throne. That's what this means. And so, yeah, I agree. Go get your money. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm a black nationalist. And yes, I'm a Pan-Africanist. You know what I mean? At the same time, we're going to go get this land here. And while you're doing that, we're over here helping Africa unify itself so we can pull from that resource and from this resource and say we have the top resources on the planet again. We are controlling the planet again. And if you go on east or west, you got to deal with us in every situation. And so I think somebody put in somebody's ear this one little thing here and told them to run with it. You know what I'm saying? Because they saw what was happening in Africa. You know what I mean? Because it's been happening for a minute. You know what I mean? The kicking out of the colonizer and the unification of all of the continent, you know what I mean, in small increments, but now bigger. Yeah. So they're seeing this happen, and they knew it was going to happen because, you know, they know what's going to happen 5-10 years before they let it out. So they started a bug to push it this way. But I think it's our job and duty not to even sweat them, like you said. Don't even mention necessarily who they are, but let them go ahead and do whatever work be, because in the end, we still are putting foot in the ass of the oppressor from two different perspectives. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They not the enemy and we not the enemy, even if they don't know it yet. But let them go ahead and do that work over there and get this connected. And then, you know what I'm saying? And because we're going to still benefit from that. It's not like we don't over here not going to benefit, but we really going to benefit when in the Pan-African situation, which is the solution for the world. If that wasn't the solution, the rest of the world wouldn't be over there not trying, but taking the resources and removing that on a major scale so that we can even have this conversation on this phone or whatever computer you're utilizing right now. So I think it's in the same token of, you know what I'm saying, Africa's the dark skin and those other cats here doing their thing, that's light skin. But we all melanated skin people. So stop, you know what I mean? Let's not Willie Lynch ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Even if they don't know, like if we the adults, and we obviously are, for 100 years over here, Pan-Africanism has been doing what it's doing and major. So we the adults, these are the children. You know what I'm saying? We have to allow the children to grow and feel their oats, but at the same time, remember, you still my blood. And we still connected by blood. That's what the red is in the red, black, and green. So that being the case, we don't have to accept them as the enemy, even if they do with us. What we can do is represent what we're doing even more and stronger, you know what I mean, in that fashion. So I feel like that's the thing that we need to do and be concerned about, because while we over here fighting with each other over that, and we fighting the colonizer is making robots, right, that they can put their whole subconscious or whatever into, because they ain't got the soul to stay alive like we do with our pineal gland and our melanin. So let's not be concerned about these other things, you know what I mean, to them and for us, while these cats is over here trying to, get rid of us. You know what I mean? Transhumanism type situation.
Yeah, absolutely. We got some new comrades in the building. Anybody, y'all want to introduce yourself? Peace, fam.
Peace. Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, cool. So this is Brother Karanja from Kenya, in Nairobi, Kenya.
Yo, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing black,
Indeed.
Black and strong, RBG.
RBG for life, man. Black and strong.
Yeah, man. Peace. So,
peace.
Man, being on this team, RBG team, it's just a confirmation. It's already time. Whatever the real thing Marcus Garvey wanted for us to do, unify at home and abroad. peace. That's happening right now. And, using music to connect is also like establishing what Malcolm X was talking about, a communication line, when African, continental Africa and diaspora Africa develop a communication line, that's unstoppable. And music, music is, I don't know even what word to use, because we enjoy the Black American music here. And when we now start, producing RBG music and collaborations, man, that's unstoppable.
Absolutely.
So peace.
Peace.
What up, Karanja?
Yeah, man. Peace, power. 1212, Quran. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
buddy.
indeed.
Peace.
Ray
brother.
Peace.
Whenever you see that 1212, whenever you see Team RBG pushing that 1212, that was initiated by Brother Karanja.
Yes, sir.
You know
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm saying?
If
Straight
you
out of
can't, if
Kenya.
you can't get into that a little bit, because that's like I know about the global solidarity alarm, which is dope. You know what I'm saying? I got my alarm set, but just kind of build on that a little bit.
Oh, peace. You got your alarm set for 12:12, our daily common practice?
Yeah, I just started.
Oh man, that's power. That's power. Black
Indeed.
power.
Black power all day, man.
Yeah, man. So you realize this started in 2020 after the series of global riots and demonstrations about Black Lives Matter demos. So I was in a moment of meditation. This time I was in Europe. I was in Germany, and I was experiencing, racism from the other side. And in fact, that's the first time I realized, man, bro, you're not just a human being, but you're a Black man. Like these people have a certain view of you as a Black man. Even before interacting with me, people thought they just know what I'm all about. You have your own corner. You have a corner as a Black man or as an African. And with what George Floyd went through, I saw it on social media. I saw the video. Man, I broke down, and I had already experienced some prejudice over there. So there was this moment after these demonstrations, I was realizing this is not the solution, because for how many years and decades we have been doing demonstrations, and I was like, is this really the solution? And it was no. This is not this demonstration saying Black Lives Matter, rioting, and there's not going to be the solution. The thing will just continue. The Black man in the studio continue to suffer systemic, racism, and the so-called white people, they just go in the evening after demos and remove the T-shirts written Black Lives Matter, and they continue enjoying their white privilege, and life continues. So and before long, something else will pop up in the internet, and then we start another riot, another demonstration. So I was like, what's the real solution? And the real solution, I was getting this, so how you say, revelation, or like when the Black people unite, or when Africa unites and they become strong, then we shall command dignity and respect all over the earth. So the next question was, that's not news, because we've been talking about Africa unity forever. Like Bob Marley said, hasn't it been said already? Let it be done. You can imagine, back in his days, he already said, hasn't it been said already? Let it be done. We have had all these leaders fighting for Africa unity, but why then haven't we been able to, achieve it? Then I realized we don't have the political goodwill, So, and without the political goodwill, then they just been playing tricks on us, the politics, fooling us, and then time passes, because the political system is not meant for us in any way. So they won't do anything that's going to benefit us whatsoever. So then I was like, then what? What shall we do then? And then continue this series of meditation revelations, that let the common man forget the system and let them unite from grassroots, worldwide, from local Africa to everywhere Black people are. Forget the system, because it's not for you. It's never meant for you. Let the local man unite from grassroots. And I was like, how then do we unite? And this is the moment when I saw this number 12. The number 12 was revealed. I saw a number, and I was like, oh, number 12. So how do we use number 12 to achieve the unity we are looking for? And that's why I was, directed like, let the Africans form groups of 12 people. Let them stop competition and jealousy and all that. Let them, work in Ubuntu solidarity and be brothers and sisters keeper and support one another, and keep it Ubuntu. So like, wow, that sounded like a plan, like something we can, implement. And at this moment, I had some series of events. I also had another confirmation. So I went direct to start spreading this message. And when I picked my phone, it was 12:12 p.m. That's where now the 12:12 comes in. Now I got another, direction, like set an alarm to remind you of this moment.
Yeah.
Set an alarm to always remind you this moment, and ask your people to set this alarm as a covenant to one another. And whenever it rings, you say, I am, because we are, as a, global solidarity, a moment of a covenant of solidarity. And bro, ever since then, I just set it and started spreading it. And it has been received across Africa and across the diaspora. So it's working,
Wow.
We embracing a common practice. It's already a form of unity. You realize people are united by flags, people are united by slogans, people are united by, so we embrace the red, black, and green, the vision of Marcus Garvey, our leaders, and we set this daily common practice as our daily reinforcement, daily. And you realize now we are working on our subconscious mind to give us that sense of unity,
Indeed.
It goes to the
I was going to
psychology.
say, everybody tuning in. Hey man, if you love being African, if you are in solidarity with your people at home and abroad, set your alarm to 12:12. A daily reminder of what we in this for. A daily reminder of you being a part of a global community. A daily reminder of just what we need to do, where we have come from, and where we're going. And so, yeah, that's brother Karanja. That's a powerful sentiment, man. And thank you for sharing that.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, that thing is powerful right there.
Absolutely.
Every time he explains it, I get duck pimples, like my grandma used to call them duck pimples.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I feel like your ancestors running through me.
I had something I want to ask you, brothers and sisters. I saw the interview on Riot Starter with my people's Kalanji. Great interview. Saw the interview on, I believe it's Baba TV. Also peeped the interview, and also what our brother Kofi does. When we look at art, not only art but media, right? From podcasts, TV. The sister said that she paints like art in that manner. How important is it for us to have our own propaganda in getting this message out? Y'all go ahead. Yeah,
Wow.
anybody.
Yo.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nzofu. Let Nzofu go speak to that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Black power to everybody.
Black power, my brother.
Thank you, man, for the invitation. I have to veg you back before I speak on that. And what Brother Karanja said, yeah, I got the goosebumps too. It seemed a little more powerful every time he says it, and then I'm watching what he's doing. The notion that undergirds the very nature of Pan-Africanism is that there is no I without the we. I am an expression of the we. And so that's an important thing to remember. We've been duped into focusing on the I. So this is the importance and the power of Ubuntu and 1212 as a daily practice. I love that way you explained that. Thank you, my brother. So, right, most of our programming, our mental, psychological programming on a group level happens through propaganda. And that programming is aimed at the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is like the 90% of the iceberg under the water that we don't see. And so it seeps into our mind and operates on the conscious level without us being aware of it. That's why we call it the unconscious mind. And so Urugu, the Sun Dodgers, they use propaganda to manage and control not just us, but even their own people. And so it is not enough for us to mount a campaign that is aimed at the intellect. The intellect exists in the conscious level of the mind. So if we just try to explain everything that's happening and try to piece it all together and say it's time for us to come together, most people won't even understand what part of their mind is rising up to say, no, we can't do that, or that's impossible, or you dreaming, or, that's just not worth even trying to do. And so if we're going to fight this battle, we got to fight it on the battlefield of the unconscious mind. And thus, this is why we decided at Team RBG that we're going to mount a massive proper propaganda campaign so that we can speak to the collective cultural consciousness of the people.
Indeed. This kind of leads into my next question. We saw, I think a couple of days ago, the news about like the Big U RICO case, and a lot of people that were involved in that. We saw the news break about Yellow Beezy from Dallas being taken in for the murder of Mo3. Then we saw Sauce Walker in Memphis. This is like a span of like 3 or 4 days. We saw and his partner getting shot in Memphis with his forgot the brother's name, but with his people dying. And then when we look on, and I saw like afterwards, Vlad from Vlad TV, Adam 22 from No Jumper, Academics, and the white dude Trap Lord Ross that makes the videos of where he's kind of solving these quote unquote murders, well, these hip hop murders, right? He's like doing like investigative work or whatever, but they were all in the same room. They all got up with each other, right? And it was kind of weird. But whenever we look at these type of platforms, that they'll get a young artist to come up there who might have a buzz. They won't ask him about any music. They'll ask him about, crimes that he may have committed or who he's beefing with. And these platforms have millions of subscribers, right? Millions. And they're reaching so many people. I just wanted to get your thoughts on this whole podcast complex that we are seeing, where especially when it comes to hip hop, our art form, where you have people outside of our community, and not just white boys, because academics and others are doing it too. But we have people that are coming in, our community and promoting nothing but the violent aspect of our culture. And then when things happen, I just ask questions. I don't have nothing to do with that. Or I'm not the feds or this or that. Like, what are your thoughts on just, this whole thing that we got going, where these podcasts are promoting, violence and destruction, and then acting like they're innocent in it all?
Well, and when you dealing with the podcast realm, that's like the podcast realm is like the wild, wild west. Like, it's open space. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no restrictions on it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the industry don't even have to pay some of these, you know what I'm saying, podcasts that are out that promoting it because they doing it themselves. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And those that do, like your Vlad, you'll say, you know, he's paying these cats to come on there and tell their whole life story. You know what I mean? On Vlad, because he's the most notable. You know what I'm saying, at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's like the system is designed for it. You know what I mean? Basically, at this time, you know what I'm saying, it's just the new way. It ain't in magazines no more. It's the podcast realm.
Yeah, yeah. Because it really ain't no real physical hip hop magazines like that no more. I mean, we grew up in the days of obviously like Source and XXL, and they were obviously they, yeah, yeah. You know, they were actually talking about the albums for the most part. It wasn't real like tabloid type shit. And now these dudes are calling themselves journalists. That's that's not journalism, right? That's
Nah,
tabloid stuff, man.
nah.
Yo, when I look at them cats on those, you know what I'm saying, them, excuse me, those different podcasts, self-snitching,
Yes, sir.
right?
It's a lot of them, too.
Right.
Yes.
I think about that old, you know what I'm saying, thing, that 15 minutes of fame, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted 15 minutes of fame. And I realized as soon as people started gaining 15 minutes of fame by doing something ignorance got sky high.
Mm,
Everybody tried to
mm,
do something more stupid than the next man.
facts.
So I'm saying that to say, even when these cats get on these podcasts, right? You seeing them, okay? You just said Big U and them. They got hit with the RICO, right? I bet these rappers don't even know that the RICO law was invented for mobsters and organized crime, even though they taking these mobsters' names. You understand what I'm saying?
Huh?
So if you are pretending to live this lifestyle, you got to pardon me too, because I'm driving and my
How you do?
earbuds done went down. If you pretending to live this lifestyle as a gangster, expect the repercussions and consequences that come with it.
Yes,
I
sir.
see these ignorant ass brothers and sisters trying to outdo one another. My hood got more bodies than your hood. My block got more killers than your. Like, yo, is this what we're competing? We're competing to be the lowest black African American, whatever. We're competing to see who who could be the better scum,
Mm,
better scumbag. And when I hear these cats talking that, like, yo, my daughter beside me right now, so she probably gonna start laughing when I say this. Even when I say the monkey see, monkey do, not just monkeys, humans too. None of these brothers are actually thinking for themselves. So when one say, yo, man, we got them sticks with them switches. Yeah, man, we got sticks with switches. Yeah, man, we got switches on sticks. Yeah, yeah. They just repeat the same ignorance behind one another. That's the peer pressure we was talking about. That's the popular influence. So you want to bring that back. They think that it's popular. It's going to get their numbers up. They don't understand the feds. I saw a video, this dumb cat, young brother, he out of Alabama. Cops done picked him up. He riding around pointing out people. The cops he asked them, hey man, do y'all be watching our videos? They was like, yeah, man, we be watching your videos. He said, I told them y'all be watching our videos,
mm.
but y'all still like, yo, you're not. They so brain dead, unfortunately. They're not even making the connection that they just digging a hole deeper and deeper for themselves because for that moment, they want to be the man.
Mm.
They want to be the man. They want to tell their story. They want to, man, all they want to do is like y'all say, they just going to spin the block.
I s-
SWAT team going to spin the block and kick in your door and pick your dumb ass up.
to add on to that, I saw a clip of the dude that they have in prison that they said allegedly pulled the trigger in the Mo3 killing, and they played like a phone call from prison, and in the beginning he was talking about, well, you know what I'm saying, he said, I'm famous now. He said my Instagram then went up to about 20,000 followers now, right? And I was like, damn, like we can't be this bad off. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it was sad to see, you know what I mean? Because we gotta obviously teach our people, our youngsters to obviously to strive higher, right? And we gotta be in community with them. Obviously, some of this is, you know, on us as people who are older. But again, also a lot of it is just on how powerful these images are that they're being fed as far as what type of lifestyle. And like matter of fact, after I had watched that video, the YouTube kind of started promoting like other videos like that in my algorithm, and I watched one, and it was about Dallas. It was a like a dude. He looked like he was an Indian dude or some type of Arab maybe, but he goes into these different hoods in America and you know talks with the brothers and sisters from there, right? And what was crazy was you know he interviewing people who was in the street, right? People who getting money in the street. All of them were rappers though, right? Like it wasn't just like at one point, you know, you had street people, you had cats that was in the street, and you had MCs, and it wasn't always street cats. At one point, didn't even want to be rappers. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you know what I mean? There's too much heat, too much light. You know what I mean? But and I'm just saying that to say this because obviously y'all dropped an extremely important project, and I'm just kind of trying to highlight why the project is important, why the whole Team RBG movement is important in the first place, why Mike Chambers' music is important, and Rock and Musa and everybody. Why, right? It's because we are on the battlefield for the minds of the people. And another thing too, I think people kind of get this confused. They think it's just children that are influenced by what they see and hear. Nah. It's old cats that be mad influenced by this shit too,
yes.
man.
You can tell by the clothes that they wearing right now. You know what I'm saying? You may not even have the physical body type to wear these clothes.
You're right. Oh my goodness.
And everyone, this is what everybody wearing. I gotta wear that. Like, bro, I can't even go out and buy me a good pair of pants because I feel like I'm wearing my sister's pants. You know what I mean? My young son's joke. I can't do that. So yeah, you are correct in that way. And my granddaughter told me something today that I didn't know, that in her school, they have a whole IG page for the students who are fighting each other in school.
Wow.
Like it's a whole page. Just like, you know what I mean? They talk about, you know what I mean, they got more likes because I killed it, now I'm famous. They're picking and choosing to pick up fights now in the school so that they can get famous on this particular page and feel like they were something. And not only is it bad for them, but I've had multiple conversations with teachers in the past 6 months because my granddaughter was getting bullied by it for no reason. Like she got picked. Now everybody was pointing out to her, you know what I mean, doing things. And it's almost like the teachers are like, well, we can't do nothing about it. I said, so the animals running the zoo, so the prisoners is running the prison, and you're cool with that. Even, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy how they feel like they need to do this. And I'm from Reading, Pennsylvania. And in Reading, Pennsylvania, at certain times, we are the official murder capital of Pennsylvania at certain times. You know what I'm saying? We also have the highest amount of heroin use and the highest amount of AIDS at certain times. And there was certain, even myself, I'm not gonna front like, oh, they do it. Nah, you know what I mean? We used to even wear that as a badge. Right. Like it was so bad for us. We didn't have nothing, but we got this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We the
And
murder
so,
capital of we the murder capital of the world. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
like we
That
are
propaganda.
the poorest city in America at times.
Mm-hmm.
This is Reading, Pennsylvania. You can look it up. You know what I'm saying? It's in there. The water's terrible, everything, you know. But we're like 2 steps away from Flint type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I mention that because I have been a part of, I wanted to feel proud about something that
Yeah.
I'm from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
can at least do this. You know what I
That's what.
mean? And I think we fall into that.
No, that's what I want
Yeah.
to ask you. Do you feel like it's
Yo,
because our humanity as African people has always been denied since we've
Mm-hmm.
been in this country,
Mm-hmm.
where any type of attention or light that gets that, any type of love, even if it comes with doing something that's destructive, that love is attractive because we don't always feel that. We didn't grow up feeling that. We didn't grow up being seen as human beings from the rest of the world. Do you think that is a factor in
I
why,
th-
what I'm saying, a lot of this social media and as far as getting fame from these podcasts, the Instagram stuff, like, do you think why that type of fame is attractive to us?
Because it's artificial love.
I was about to I
Yeah.
was about to say, man, attention is the new currency.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, attention is the new currency. So people are craving attention. Everybody got a platform. Everybody wants to share their opinion. They thought about this and this and that. So it ain't about what we think no more. It's about what I think. Matter of fact, just you'll hear it in the music. You understand what I'm saying? So there was a time in our music where we talked about our struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now it's the individual struggle that gets talked about in the music. For example, and not to speak ill of the brother, but if you listen to Mo3 music, his music talked about his personal pain and struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people connected with that because again he's speaking about his pain, his struggle from an individual perspective, whereas we dial it back a couple decades ago, Marvin Gaye said, what's going on, brother? He talking about what's going on in the community, what's going on with us, right? So the perspective got down to this individual level, right? And
Yeah.
so that attention seeking, that's the new currency that people are craving. And the more attention I can get, hey, I'm important. I mean something to somebody. Look how many people listen or like what I got to say or how I look today or I did this dance or whatever the case may be, man. What we're working to do, and I just say this, this project, RBG Gumbo, to me was an example to show, look, all of us are dope as individuals, and some of us are in groups, right? But none of us have enough by ourselves to really make a dent against this whole system that we up against. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, how about we form together like Voltron and we start doing some collective work and responsibility as we put this music out here. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? It's gonna have to me, it's gonna have more impact because now we have a team to push what we got versus you totally responsible of sharing your own stuff and hoping everybody catch on to it. You know what I'm saying? Now we got you're gonna look up and you see multiple people gonna be sharing and promoting and it's the same thing with the podcast. You understand what I'm saying? We have to develop a systematic approach to deal with what we're dealing with. The individuals, man, listen, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a very difficult battle trying to do this individually. So
Yeah.
we say unity, but we gotta unify in our strengths, in the work that we doing. We have to unify. So in the music, in the poetry, in the arts, we have to unify that as well. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So that's why we here.
Indeed, individuals don't beat institutions, man. You're absolutely right. It's always going to take the collective. This RBG Gumbo is 3 discs. One for the red, one for the black. or for the green. That's first off out the gate. That's powerful, man, and not easy to do. But it got completed. It's dope. The beats, the MCing, the ideas that are being expressed. Um, if you can, let's talk about the project in its totality. First, what kind of gave you guys the idea to even do this? Because it's hella ambitious, man, for 3 discs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not easy to do, man. I was just thinking because I had put together an album probably in 2023. It was a compilation, and just one just just one album is tough, man. You know what I'm saying, when you're dealing with a lot of different MCs. But this is 3 discs, man. And so yeah, if y'all can just talk about that, man, because no, that's dope. That is even able to be accomplished, let alone be a great body of work.
Yeah, salute to you, bro, because you set an example, man. Believe it or not, bro. When you dropped the compilation a couple years ago,
And I
so
appreciate it.
you know, I'm still tapped into that. Um,
Wow, it's
Appreciate you.
dope.
Appreciate you, man. That was and just like
yeah,
y'all, man, like
Yeah.
it what we do in music is sincere. It comes from the heart. It comes from the love of the art and the love of the people. And I think this is just what we do, man, and it comes out in the music. So I appreciate that. Um but as far as the Team RBG album, when did you guys start kind of piecing it together?
We started piecing that together like around, I want to say maybe October, September last year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, it started off by we wanted to come together to make an album, but shout out to Sister Ife Jai on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? She said, "Why don't we do a mixtape? Just have and she had a track that was already ready for us, which was Order. You know what I'm saying? And it was really, you know what I'm saying, banging. You know what I mean? So we all follow suit. You know what I'm saying? Just got together and sending tracks. You know what I'm saying? About 2 to 3 tracks each from separate artists that who wanted to collaborate and be a part of this project with us. So yeah, shout out to Ife Jai.
Indeed. Now,
It
as
was
far, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say it was actually one of the smoothest moves and transitions as an artist that I've ever done,
Wow.
solo or in a group, when it comes to putting something together.
Mm.
And which tells me that it was meant to do at this time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about, she was talking about, we really need to put something out, getting prepared for the album that we want to put out,
Mm-hmm.
Black State of Emergency, which is coming. But you got to have the precursor. You
Yeah.
got to have that thing to wet the whistle, to get them. You know what I mean? To get the bell to ring for the dogs to come get their food.
Fact.
Pavlov's dogs. We're dealing with a Pavlov dog situation in
Mm-hmm.
propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our bell ringing to let the people know, come and get the rest of this food. And you know what I mean? But this gumbo sitting in this bowl right now. You know what I'm saying? It's
Man,
that
but look,
gumbo.
it's a
Hashtag get your bowl.
it's an amazing project, man, and the fact that y'all
Get the
started
ball.
in September and was able to, that lets me know that everybody was locked in with the same vision as well. Everybody believed in the common cause. You know what I mean? And that's important. Every movement gotta have a cause. You know what I'm saying? And we all gotta see it, man. Like as far as what you guys are doing, and as far as the vision, as we know, hip hop has always kind of been a battleground, especially since the '90s, a battleground of what type of what type of message we're gonna flood the block with, right? As far as the music. How do we continue, as people who are in media, hip hop artists, people who write books, how do we continue to push and win the minds of the people? Because when it comes to any type of warfare, whether it be intellectual or even straight up warfare, the first thing that the revolutionary has to do is to win over the population, right? How do we continue to win over the people with our message of Pan-African solidarity at home and abroad?
Yeah. This what we're doing right now is part of that process, man. Again, the better organized we are, the more impact we're going to have. Collaboration over competition. You know what I'm saying? The more we collaborate, the more we cooperate with one another, utilizing our strengths, our interests, and working together in those interests, we're going to have more impact. And like I said, that's across the board, man. I really think, especially with the climate that we are in right now, and it's just my observation. When I see a lot of black folk who from the church start to batten their eyes and say we need to do something, I know something is happening. You understand what I'm saying? If you just if and that's not a knock on the church. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Like, if we think about the boycott from last month, that was primarily organized by the black church. You know what I'm saying? And and that let me know something significant is taking place among the people. You know what I'm saying? I just seen another clip from a pastor yesterday. Brother Obawajumi sent me. Was going in about some stuff, man. And when I see that, of course, you eat the fruit and say the seeds or discard the seeds or whatever you want to do. But I'm seeing different stuff going on. So finding those ways where we can work together with our people is very important. You know what I'm saying? I think I don't know who said it, but like if we can find things where we can agree on, that's what we need to work. So you may not be Pan-African, but if you agree we need to grow food, let's do that. You understand what I'm saying? And you may not be Pan-African, but if you got a platform and you about black solidarity, yeah, we can collaborate in that way. So finding ways for us to navigate these spaces and collaborate, man, is key. And that's going to be put us in a position to build the type of things and maintain those things that we need for ourselves, man.
Yeah, you kind of brought up something that I wanted to ask you guys anyway. When it comes to Team RBG and just the idea of red, black, and green and solidarity and African people and organizing and boots on the ground work, I remember on Sundays, Baba Amin in Fort Worth, we would go out there to where he was building it, and it would be brothers and sisters from the Nation of Islam. It would be Orthodox Muslims. It would be Christians. It would be 5%ers, atheists, whatever, right? But everybody had the race first and understanding that in order for us to get to where we want, we got to religious differences shouldn't keep us apart. You know what I'm saying? Or how we view, concept of God or things of that nature. But when it comes to, RBG, because people may not really understand that, but correct me if I'm wrong. There's no discrimination as long as it's not anything that I guess is keeping you from being race first. But if somebody wanted to be a part of the RBG movement and they had a, whatever their religion was, that's not going to keep them from being a part of this movement, right?
Even if they don't have any religion or even the belief in, God, atheism.
Anything, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, as long as you working for the goal of liberation, you know what I'm saying, for the most part. But we are a Pan-African situation. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you understand that the unification of the thing that's feeding the planet is in essence the group that you need to be in to help you get to whatever goal you have outside of that. You know what I mean? Then yeah, we could work. But no Negro, no Euro, no hey.
Hey, look, but y'all were kind of building on that on I believe it was I can't believe if it was Kalanji's show or Baba TV, but a vetting process, right? Like every organization has to have a vetting process. Can you talk about why it's important for revolutionary organizations to have a vetting process?
Yeah. We definitely they put together there's committees that have put together a registration situation. We gather your information, not just your name, not just your number, not just your social, but what do you do? What are your skills at? You know what I mean? And it's a resume, you know what I mean? Because you can't just come into the group and you're just, hey, I'm here, guys. And nah, we all work. And so how can you help the work itself out? And whatever you're doing, whether to your highest capacity or whatever capacity you can have, we need to know that so we know, well, okay, we can direct you this way or we can direct this way, and also who is you? Right. Who brought you in?
Right.
Who jumped you in? And who your mama? Who your granddad? You know what I mean? Like who that? Where you coming from? What you been doing? You know what I mean? We need to see that, and we need to know your past. You know what I mean? What your record look like. You know what I'm saying? We need to know these things. So if you know it's an issue in that way, don't even step over here. You putting your hands on women. You doing terrible things to the children. It's not happening. And if you know what I mean, I'm just saying.
You might
some of us find out. You're gonna fuck around and find out. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean, none of that is accepted. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna make sure that this particular organization is a forever organization and it moves into a forever nation. It moves into what needs to be transpired for the liberation of us. You know what I mean? Because the planet doesn't understand. Yeah, when we melanated individuals, we black folk, you know what I mean? That B in the middle. See the B in the middle. You say when that B in the middle is free and liberated, the planet is in a better situation.
Absolutely. Every time. The planet and absolutely. I wanted to ask the queen something. Well, go ahead. Y'all good?
Just to add on real quick.
Yeah, no, you good, brother.
And this just goes as far as like the organization. Repping RBG is one thing. Being a part of this organization is a privilege. You have to earn to be part of this body. You understand what I'm saying? Like come in here just to wave a flag. Hey, I'm RBG today. No, that ain't. You can stay on the sideline and do that. You understand what I'm saying? That is not why we organize. If you're not ready to do some physical work, then this probably ain't for you. You understand what I'm saying? Like we got enough people cheerleading.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And cheerleaders is fine, don't get me wrong. But the cheerleaders don't score points.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we need some folks in there who gonna run the ball. We need some folks who gonna run the plays.
Yeah, I might have to take
you
that
know what
bar
I'm saying?
from you. No, that's real. Cheerleaders
sure.
don't score points. I mean, they good for moral support, but we trying to win. You know what I'm saying?
We gotta have some folk who running the play, who gonna run the ball, man. Who gonna tackle? Who gonna get up and run their balls? We gotta have some folk in the game, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what Team RBG is about. People who are committed to doing work, not just saying I'm RBG, but working, living RBG. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to ask the queen something because I think it's good to have perspective from the sisters. being a sister in a revolutionary movement. If you can't just speak about that experience and the importance of our sisters to, be a part of, these type of organizing and these type of revolutionary movements. Just wanted to get your experience on that. She might have stepped away. Not sure, but either way, if y'all can speak on it, like what do y'all think the importance of having our sisters, our Black women, being involved in these revolutionary organizations and movements that we, are in, that we are doing work in. How important are the sisters?
Let me speak to that first. There's my queen that I guess she stepped away.
Okay, all right, indeed.
Yeah, but it's there's no nation without women. There's no nation without men, because that's the only way we know to get children is when men and women come together with one people. It's a sad state of affairs right now that I see with the young people, talking about passport bros and the brothers talking about how the women are this and the women talking about how the young brothers are that, as if they're not if they're not our people. Those are our women. And so we must do what we must do to make things right and to create environments that our women and children can thrive in. That's our responsibility as Black men. And Black women are the most spiritually powerful people on the planet. Nobody brings manifestation into this realm like the Black woman. So when we get things set up, we'll watch them produce in a way that is supernatural. So the Black woman balances us out, and we don't have any movement with. Matter of fact, if you study all the great movements, right, you'll find that there was majority women most of the time, those here in America. So we can't overstate the importance of the sisterhood, and we love our sisters, and we believe in embracing African relationships, African marriages, to make African children.
Indeed.
That's the best way to say that. That's the best way to say that. And Zuku, thank you, my brother. Yes, sir.
TeamRBG.com is the website. Let everybody know, what they not only can they get the album on the website, but what can they find at the website and because the link is in the description, but just kind of let them know why they should check it out.
They should check it out.
Yeah, so
go ahead, old
Go ahead. No, you good, bro. Go ahead.
It's all the nutrition that you need, right?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Your body is depleted, mind, body, and soul is depleted. You need to recharge and get this gumbo. 3 hours using music, breaking the pressure. You know what I'm saying? Gumbo. You know what I'm saying? Go to teamrbg.com and get your bowl.
Absolutely. Make sure it's one of the websites that you check, daily. They got forums. I think that's dope too, just because it's interactive. You know what I'm saying? And the people can come and be interactive on the site. Obafemi, did you want to add on?
Yeah, so teamrbg.com, of course. Like you say, you can get the Gumbo project there. You also can create a profile. Is pretty much our own social media site. So you can share posts. Like other their forums there. There are groups on there. It's our social media basically. So we although we do use Facebook, we use Instagram, but we got our own platform. And so it's again, it's like taking back our power. Like we have to find ways and develop ways to control our narrative. So nobody's going to censor us on teamrbg.com. You know what I'm saying? We
Indeed.
gonna
Right.
say what we want to say.
Right.
Nobody's gonna flag your post on teamrbg.com because you was going in on your Rugu. Like that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
You know, so that's what we creating those spaces for us to be unapologetic about who we are. You
Mhm.
know, so yeah, that check out the site there. For if you want to get more information about Team RBG, you can send an email to teamredblackgreen@gmail.com, and somebody will touch bases with you as well.
Indeed, indeed. And seriously though, y'all make sure y'all go to teamrbg.com and get the Team RBG Gumbo album. Amazing body of work, but there's more to come. And so stay on the website, stay locked in, join the community, build a profile, do all of that. You know what I'm saying? And stay locked in with the people that are not only making great music, but the people that are doing affecting change in the community. And this movement is a movement that's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. So you might as well. So you might as well get down now. Any parting shots before we head out? For one, I want to let everybody know my platform is y'all platform. Anytime y'all want to come through, discussion about anything, the platform is always open to you guys. But any parting shots before we head out? I see the Queen want to build. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was driving and I couldn't unhit the mute button
No
at the
problem.
moment. But just I know it's the end of the show, but I had just was thinking about what y'all were talking about with the propaganda, and I just feel like propaganda ain't always a bad word. In fact, it's just the art of persuasion, and art has always been one of the most persuasive tools in existence, whether it's the brush, the mic, the stage, or the page. And art has the power to shape what people believe, what they fear, what they love, and what they fight for. And so the question is, who controls that persuasion? And that's up to us to be, and we have to be the ones that's in control of that. And as artists, we don't just make culture, we are the culture. We don't just create the message, we become the message. So, I just wanted to say that, I just wanted to say that propaganda, when wielded with purpose and heart, it becomes a weapon of liberation, a tool
Absolutely.
to help raise our people, not just rile them up, but that's how we win, by using our art to shift the attention
Mm,
toward the truth, toward the healing, toward the freedom. And when we
absolutely.
control our own stories, we control the future, I say.
And I see
That's what I
the
was thinking.
Fela, music is a weapon, is the weapon of the future. I mean,
Thank
that's
you. I love Fela Kuti. Love
absolutely that's
Fela. I say.
uh, but,
Speaking from the from the Queen side, his mother was a very important part in
yeah,
his aspect of the struggle and fighting for what needs to be done in Africa. But he was influenced and given the guidance and given the door open when he came to America. When he came to the land where we are as Black folks and Africans here in this from the diaspora, and even over in England, that influence of outside of Africa influenced him to come back to Africa to give Africa what it was needed. And that's what we're doing with this proper propaganda. Proper propaganda is what I like the terminology that I like to utilize. Don't know if it's mine, don't know where, but I know that's what we're doing. Because like the sister said, the Queen said, it's not a bad thing. The Nazis gave us commercials after World War II. When you go back and you ask your mother or your grandmother or if they're still alive, ask them before World War II, do you remember seeing commercials? It wasn't, you was going to the movie to see certain things that was popping, but in the TV aspect, when they started bringing some of them Nazi scientists, psychologists over here and utilizing them they was like, give them commercials. So that's propaganda aspect, but propaganda is 1/3 of the machine of war.
yeah.
We've been at it, my brother Jakim just said that in the joint we doing, we've been at war since we came out the tomb, because we came out the womb. We are all veterans if we still alive in this joint. You know what I'm saying? And using this music as the weapon, has been the aspect of what we have to do. You know what I mean? We've been doing it, but we gotta do it because they're doing it against us. You know what I mean?
We got to
I
keep
got a
our
whole
foot on the
breakdown
gas. I see
about how music happens like that. You know what I'm saying?
I see Brother Karanja wants to give his parting shots. All the way from Kenya.
Yeah, peace, family. It
Peace.
was that point from Brother Sundiata talking about Fela Kuti and music is a weapon of the future. That's where we are already. And also the point that Fela Kuti was influenced when he was outside, that the moment he stepped outside the motherland. That's what I usually tell my black people, my Africans. I tell them, don't get so comfortable in Africa here, in this bubble, colonial. I call them Berlin Conference bubbles, I saying Kenyan, I'm Ugandan, I'm Nigerian, and all that bullshit. I say, man, the moment you get out of Africa, you realize, man, we are all the same. They see us the same.
Right.
Doesn't matter where you come from, whether you are king, queen, or you are lawyer, lineage or something. They don't care. They don't care whether you are doctorate, PhD, or professor, political, whatever, billionaire. They see your skin, or let's say your hair. So if that's what they use against us, why don't we all come together, set the alarm as a solidarity action, no matter how small it is, and, keep it our daily common practice, say, rewire our psychology, because we have been wired for division with all those bubbles, Kenyan, Nigerian, that's xenophobia bullshit. Let's wire ourselves back to unity, and let's do it even, across the diaspora, and say one love, home and abroad. And let's network. You realize after setting the alarm, you organize locally using number 12. You come together, 12 of you, start initiatives, and then we network these groups of 12 people locally and worldwide. And then we start having the political influence, and we can shape our political influence. And that unity Africa has been wanting to have, and one passport is just gonna manifest with time. Peace, family, peace.
Peace. Figure, did you want to give your parting shots?
I just my brother Freddie popped on. That's my brother. Arkansas RBGs, GSC Community Guards, man. Just wanted to shout my brother out. I don't know if he wanted to add on something.
You want to add on, Freddie?
He might have. I don't know. There you go.
Yeah, I see him.
I'm driving. I'm driving, riding right now. I jump back on. I just enjoyed the conversation though. I'm just listening. Kind of got distorted in the traffic, but yeah, man. I think everything that's going on is falling in line. It's in alignment with the earth. And just everything coming together as one. Just gaining attraction, man. That's all we need.
Yeah, indeed. That's what we need. That momentum. It's just like you're kind of breaking up the.
I'm just enjoying, far as we came and looking at the future, just enjoying just the energy that's been put forward in the projects, the people just getting excited about us having a win, just winning. You know what I'm saying? We ain't won like it's been years since we just had a win. We just had we can get individual wins, but as a collective, that's what's really making the stance and changing the narrative. So yeah, I appreciate y'all, man. Everybody on the call, man. Everybody that's involved.
Now we appreciate you, brother. All right, man. So Sanjata, do you wanna close it out, bro?
My mic was off. Yeah, I just say www.teamrbg.com. I'm going to say it 2 more times, right? www.teamrbg.com. www.teamrbg.com. I'm on my Umar. Yeah. and we also have a funny on my Umar. We also have a Cash App because we deal with donation. It's not a donation, it's a donation. This is part of what needs to get done, what we're doing. And every dollar that comes in, every cent, you send 1 penny, that thing is gonna help build what we're doing with propaganda, what we're doing in the communities, what we're doing as an organization, not just one particular person, and we're not just music. You know what I mean? X-Clan had Black Watch, you know what I'm saying? But X-Clan came after Black Watch.
Right.
However, we are at the conception of what we're doing, and at the beginning, a lot of us are artists and creatives. So we're building with that. So please, $ Team RBG, $ Team RBG, $ Team RBG. If you want to do the nation something proper, go ahead by even giving $1. That will take that. We'll do that. But something that the sister had said about the art before and now, when you want to look at the highness of a civilization, you go to the art form. When the art form of a civilization is high, it's giving you, you know that, okay, that's how they knew, you know what I mean, that Kemet was what Kemet was, because how they designed and spoke on the walls with the Middle Necha, what they call the hieroglyphics, was beyond what they could understand. And it was so beautiful. It was artistically done. The art was a high level. So now in this society, when the art is at its low spot, low in morals, low in character, low in content, low in skill, and low in talent and technique, you know what I mean? You see how that transforms into the rest of the community, the rest of the world for us. You know what I mean? Because they allow their musicians to say anything they want, especially if it's something that helps them, because they need all the help they can get. While we are pushing for our artists to say the lowest level, keep it dumb and simple so they can get it, as opposed to utilizing these words multiple times to bring thoughts and connect synopsises to the brain, which enhances your intelligence and your critical thinking. That's what we're doing with this music. That's what we're doing with the graphics. Shout out to Mental Son for all of the graphics. That's what we're doing, wearing the clothes we're wearing. Everything means something to us. And because of that, every time that you participate in listening, paying attention, supporting through donations, and coming on this and sharing it, you mean you are part of that creation of the nation that you and I are all going to need in the coming days, if not right now and yesterday. So I said, www.teamrbg.com, #gumbo, #get your bowl, #you got your bowl, and make sure that you tune in to Vengeance Radio as well, because we play that music that needs it. And brother, I need your music on Vengeance Radio, by the way.
Got you. I got
you know what I'm saying? As soon as you send it to vengeanceradio@gmail.com, VENJAHS radio@gmail.com. You know what I mean? And it's got to have that. I know you, just not for you, because I know, but for those who are listening, you know what I'm saying? You got to have substance. You got to have skill. You got to have talent. You got to be able to bring the balance. And we're dealing with infotainment. I'm not concerned about being entertained or entertaining and distracting my people. I want to inform my people and let them know what it is. You bring that, and all of that comes in together. And Vengeance Radio is a Team RBG sponsor. You mean we definitely deal with Team RBG first and foremost. So if you're on Team RBG and you do that, you send me your music, it's going up first and foremost. And that's what I have to say about this.
Oh, all right. Well, again, man, we got to do this again soon. I appreciate y'all, brothers and sisters, for coming through. Again, my platform is y'all platform. Anytime, man. But we're definitely going to stay locked in and continue to push this message of Pan-African unity. Mike Chambers, I see you there. Did you want to add on before we go?
Nah, brother.
Okay. All right, no doubt. Well, I appreciate you though for coming through, you know, and building all of you. You know what I'm saying? What you're doing is important. Again, you know, everybody go to teamrbg.com, teamrbg.com. Check out the music, check out the forums, become a member, donate. It's all for you know the betterment of our people and our communities. So with that said, appreciate y'all for tuning in to Wazadome TV. Make sure you hit up teamrbg.com. Peace.
Zalu.